All right, so I think I'll go with the green background with the white writing in honor of our Big Ten regular season and Big Ten tournament champions, the Michigan State Spartans. Okay, so this is the sheep brain dissection review. It's going to count as learning target 8-7, which is about the parts of the brain and their functions, and I wanted to go through this very, very quickly, so I'm going to go fast. I'm going to say pretty much exactly what you're going to have to do on the quiz in terms of multiple choice or matching, labeling, whatever. Labeling, matching will be the same thing. I'll have things like what we just saw in the Kahoot, where it's labeled and say what is a multiple choice. And probably some none of the aboves in there. I haven't even made the quiz yet. But number one, the largest, most dominant is going to be the cerebrum. I mean, just think, it's the one part of the brain where not only do we need to know where it is and be able to point to it, we also have to break it down by 4 different lobes, okay? Number 2, the lobes, all right? The lobes are going to be frontal, and I'm just going to do the labeling of them, okay? So we've got frontal on the front, we've got parietal, and we label these in another diagram, so all right, we've got on the side below the parietal, we're going to have temporal. We kind of dealt with that some in the lab when we saw the down where like the rhinencephalon. I talked about the smell and auditory processing centers, and also the hippocampus in the temporal region. So the hippocampus with long-term memory involved with that. Occipital, where we actually have our visual processing. And the frontal is a lot of our higher, more complex abilities. 3, what does the spinal cord do? Relay messages between body and the brain. So a lot of our nerves will come into the spinal cord and up to the brain. Messages can travel out from the brain down the spinal cord and then out to the body. All right. And number 4, describe the location of the pineal gland. What is its function? So describing the location. What do you guys think? Any ideas? How can we describe its location? Is there some kind of landmark, easy to see thing around it? Huh? So I say if you know the thalamus, which is kind of like a circular region, you can kind of see the circle. It's kind of notable. This is pretty easy to find. The pineal gland is just posterior, just behind it. So posterior to thalamus. And what it does is secretes melatonin. And because of that, it's involved with our day-night cycles. Okay, so secreting melatonin can actually help us sleep better. We're going to do more of that in the dark. And in the darker months that we've just gone through, we made it through. Spring is 1 day away. Spring is 1 day away. Thank goodness. Tomorrow is spring. All right. So that means northern hemisphere is going to start pointing at the sun. All right, number 5. What does the oculomotor nerve do? Any ideas? Crystal? Moves the eyeball around, so it controls muscles, or sends messages to muscles, I should say. Eyeball. Nice. What about the medulla oblongata? How would we describe that? Where is that located? How can you say it with words without a diagram? Where would it be located? What is it? Below the pons. The way we're looking at the brain coming in, yeah, it's kind of below and behind, right? Okay. So we could say inferior to the pons. We could say posterior. We could say both. Inferior slash posterior to pons. Okay. And we got function of medulla. What'd you guys put for function of the medulla? Nothing? No functions in the medulla? Huh? Helps regulate breathing, heart rate. Did you put anything else? Digestion. A lot of the things that we don't think about. Okay, so this is a big automatic center. Autonomic. Okay, number 7. With number 7, what is it? Where is the cerebellum? What is its function? How do we describe where the cerebellum is? In the back. It's to the side of the medulla. Uh, kind of right above the medulla, right? Isn't it? Because it kind of sits on the brainstem. And the major part, anytime you can just relate something easily to the cerebrum, do it, because the cerebrum is the most notable, obvious part of the brain, right? So the cerebellum is just posterior to the cerebrum, just behind it. All right, that is involved with our motor movement coordination. And balance. All right, number 8. What are the protective layers of the brain called? Kids, what are they called? Meningeal layers. Very good. The main one we dealt with in the dissection was the dura mater, the outermost one. Okay, what do we call that long division between the two cerebral hemispheres? Okay, the corpus callosum is down in there. It connects the two cerebral hemispheres. But that long opening between them is called the longitudinal. You said it? Median fissure. All right. Number 10. What is the hypothalamus? Where is it? Inferior to the thalamus? Is that what you said? Easiest way to remember it, because it's right in the word, right? Right in the name of it. Inferior to thalamus. Anybody know what it does? Yeah, emotions. Okay, closely associated with our pituitary gland, that master gland. It's right above it. It's right between the thalamus and the pituitary gland. That's what I wanted to say earlier. If you identify where the pituitary gland is, you identify where the thalamus is, the region right between the two, hypothalamus. Okay? All right. El numero 11. What is the function of the thalamus? Anybody have the function for the thalamus? So information coming in, sensory information. Thalamus, major relay point here. Send that info out to where it needs to go in the brain. Number 12. Where is the pons located and what is its function? Any idea about the pons? Ponzi. Where's that? Superior to the medulla. Yeah, what we said earlier. Could say it's above the medulla, maybe slightly in front. We could say superior. And we could even say slash anterior. More to the front, like it's in front of it, coming in to medulla. What'd you guys put for function? Yes. Messages between cerebrum and cerebellum. Cool. And number 13, what do we got here? What are the raised portions of the cerebrum called and what are the grooves? So the raised portions are called what? Okay, gyri, yep. That's the plural form, meaning more than one gyrus. And the grooves are called sulci, right. Sulci, or that's plural for individual grooves called a sulcus. All right, 14. Where is the hippocampus located? What does it do? What do we put for location of the hippocampus? Ooh, that's nice. And that's true, actually. And it's going to be just, I want you guys just think of it being as in the temporal lobe, okay? Because that's the way you're going to see it on the quiz. And what does it do? Yeah, closely associated with our long-term memory storage. All right. And number 15. Okay. Describe the ventricles of the brain. What can we say about the ventricles? Yeah, they're involved with the CSF. Okay. They're openings, so they're kind of like cavities in the brain. What is the significance of the olfactory bulbs and tract? What does that mean? What is that involved with? Allows us to process smell, right? Describe the pathway of signals involved with vision. Starts with the eye, right? That's where we're going to have our receptors. And then we'll go optic nerve. And then the optic nerve is going to go to what? Yep. Yep. And then where does it end up? Whoop, there it is. Might put a multiple choice question there where I give you some different options for the pathway. And then include a none of the above, of course, so it's not too easy. And the last one was actually supposed to say pituitary gland, not pineal. Okay, so where's the pituitary gland? How would we say its location? What did you say about it? How do you find it? Would you put superior to the pons? It's kind of a little bit. I'd say it's more in front of it, wouldn't you? I must have skipped that one. I got caught up on it because that was when I figured out that the question was wrong. I mean, it is. Superior is not necessarily wrong. Let me think about it. I think of it more, though, let's think of it this way. Inferior maybe to hypothalamus. And it's the master gland. So, because it's the master gland, having some control over other glands and their secretions, it's involved with, really, they say, all those chemical reactions taking place. So, a lot of times they just associate it with metabolism in general. Okay? And that answers all of those. So now I'm going to pause the video real quick, and I'm going to try to jump over to your actual review so I can just label those diagrams and be done. All right, here we are. So hopefully I can write on this. Structure A, going to be the olfactory bulbs, or bulb. That's an olfactory bulb. B is going to be the optic chiasm. C is going to be the optic nerve coming into the optic chiasm. D is going to be the pons. And E is going to be the medulla oblongata. All right. Make sure you check those real quick. Good with that? Everybody good with that? It's going to be multiple choice. All right, and then we have quite a few of them here. Let's see. So structure A, B, C, that's going to go frontal lobe of the cerebrum. You should know that all of that. Here's the thing. A, B, C. Should know for sure that those are all cerebrum, okay? Well, we've got frontal lobe, we've got parietal lobe, and we have occipital lobe. All right, structure D is going to be the cerebellum. Lady cerebellum. E is going to be, what is E here? E is going to be the lateral ventricle. F is going to be the corpus callosum. All right, G and H. So looking at G and H, we're going to have the thalamus, that circular area there, and under it we're going to have the hypothalamus. All right. Structures I and J. We're going to have the pituitary gland and the pineal gland. And then K and L. We have the medulla, and then L would be the spinal cord. medulla oblongata, spinal cord. And bleep, 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 that's all, folks.